Hey everybody. Two things happened yesterday that were out of the ordinary. Now, the first one was um, I did a video a while back in 2014 about some of the trailer park things that happened, some things that happened when I lived in the trailer park here in Florida years ago, and how I don't hesitate to get involved when there's domestic abuse against a woman or children are involved. I will get involved. Everyone should get involved. And people say, it's none of my business. Of course it's your business. Of course it is. It better be somebody's, or someone's going to end up dead or miserable forever. So, um, yesterday, me and Doug went to the store. We leave the store, we're going through the parking lot, and I hear a woman kind of low mumble, like really firmly saying, "Get off me, get off me." She's really firm. And I look over, there's like a car here. We're cutting through the cars. Um, and we have to cross over the drive area to the next road where we're parked. So I look over and there's this uh, fairly buff black man shoving his chest into this heavyset white chick, and with his hands and his chest, he's shoving her into the driver's seat, and she's trying to get out, and he's not letting her. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Doug didn't see it, and I pointed it out to him. So at that point, we're watching, and Doug already knows I'm going to get involved. If it advances anymore, I'm going over there. So we go put our stuff in the car, and she's going to get a baby, which we heard laugh when we walked through. When she was saying "get off me," we heard a baby just ha 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 ha, laughing, happy little thing. And the baby was in the cart beside the van, the minivan. So she's putting the baby in the cart, in the car seat, and the guy is staring right at her. And then he slams the driver's side door, and he's F bombing all over the place. He's so mad. Then he walks around to the passenger side, like flexing and clenching his fist and just like flexing his body. And he's wearing one of those wife beaters. It's white. And he's sweating like profusely. He's been outside for a while. And the first thing I thought was, he's been drinking. I mean, he is pouring sweat. So we get our stuff in the car, then we sit in the car, and I told Doug, don't leave yet until we see what's going to happen. Make sure she gets out of here okay. He's in the passenger side. When she gets in, she lets him in. As soon as he gets in, and they shut the doors, the windows are all the way up. But even from across one whole row, we can hear him screaming at her. I mean, just like going off, and we're looking right at him. Their van faces our car. I'm looking right at them. And he's screaming at her and telling her whatever he's mad at her about, I guess. And then he throws something. He just like throws it with all this force, and it was a drink. It went everywhere. The inside of the windshield was covered in this drink. It was like in a cup. It had to be a cup. Couldn't be a can or a bottle because it exploded so openly. Um, but it went all over her, went all over the car, went all over him. Um, and before I could even get my hand on the door to open it, he grabbed a hold of her by the hair. And she was, sitting beside him, facing straight ahead. And he grabs her, and he is just shaking her like a rag doll. I'm already getting out of the car. I was like, fuck no, And so I jumped out. I jumped out. Doug jumps out. I'm looking over there. I got my phone in my hand. I'm getting ready to call 911. I walk straight over there. He jumps out of the van. She jumps out of the van. And she's standing there staring at me, covered in beer. And she's like wiping the beer off of her. She's shaking. And the guy comes around and he says to me, "Go about your business. Go about your business." I said, "This is my business. Don't come over here." So he comes around anyway. And I'm standing there and I'm like, "Give me the baby." And I'm calling the police. But this baby doesn't need to be in this. And I'm thinking, the police are going to show up, but he's going to still be doing his shit until they get there. I don't think it's right for the baby to see it. And she could see I meant well. And she's like, "No, ma'am, I'm sorry. It's fine. It's fine. He's fine. Everything's fine." And he comes around the car to me, and I looked up at him, and I'm thinking, this guy could hurt me really bad. And I said, Don't come up on me. That'll be your first mistake, and it'll be your last one. Get back. He turns around and he sees Doug, and he's like clenching his fist and flexing like he's going to do something. But then he sees Doug and he calms down. And he's like, "You need to get your woman. Ain't nobody in harm's way. Ain't nobody in any kind of a threat." Really? We just watched you sling beer all over your family vehicle, all over your woman. The baby's in the back seat, all of maybe a year old, and you're dragging her back and forth like a rag doll by the hair. So fuck you. And he kept trying to butt in and talk to me while I was talking to her, and I told him to shut up. Nobody was talking to him. Nobody was talking to him. Anybody here talk to you? Shut up. Um, I told her, focus. I was like, look what you're doing. Forget him. Forget he's here. Look at your baby. Look at your baby in the back seat. What are you doing? What are you doing to your baby? You know, don't ever put a man before your child. And she kept saying, yes, ma'am, you're right. You're right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she was pitiful. And I was like, he's throwing beer at you. Because I didn't know what it was at first until I walked up on the van and I was standing directly beside her door. And when she opened the back of the van, and oh my God, she reeked of beer. The van reeked of beer. He reeked of beer. And I was like, I'm calling the police. I mean, just, you need to know, I'm calling the police. So the license plates on the back of their van, she said no, she was going to let him drive. No, baby, you drive, you drive, you drive. So apparently that's probably what they were fighting about, was he wanted to drive and she wouldn't let him because he was drunk. She didn't want him to drive. He wasn't happy. He wanted her to get in the car and so they could leave. So I talked to her for a few minutes and she seemed to take heed what I was saying. And I doubt anything positive came out of it, but I at least tried. And the sad thing is, I know that once they got home, he blamed her. He blamed her that I got in there and said anything. Oh, it's your fault for being loud. You should have just let me drag you around by your hair and knock shit out of you and sling bear all over you and kept your mouth shut. That's the way, because, you know, men like that, they're assholes. So that happened. I called 911, and as they were pulling out, the lady answered, and I said, write this down, and I rambled off the number on the plate as they were pulling off. I said, I don't have any way to write it down. That's a plate. Please write it down. Then I told her what happened. There was a cop right at the McDonald's right there where we were, and I told her. So she told me to go over there and talk to him. So I did. So I spent about an hour with the police. They were really nice. The one cop that came up, he was that was there, he was already there. So nice. And we talked about a lot of stuff, and he took the report. And I had to wait for the other officer to come that was going to handle the report in case he had to ask me more shit or ask Doug more shit because he saw it too. And they agreed when I said, it's sad that they're going to get home and he's going to take it out on her that I came over there. He was like, you're right. That's how they do. So, they did the report and everything, and they did have an address, and the tag matched the description of the van, same van, so they know it was probably the exact one. So they were going to go do a home check on her and the baby, and I'm hoping that motherfucker had warrants. I'm not even kidding. He needs to go out of there. That guy was vicious. He was violent. I have never seen anything like that where a woman just gets snatched around like a rag doll. I've seen it on TV. But he was literally, it was so sad, just snatching her like a maniac. Well, I've already dedicated too much time to that story. So that's that story for the day, and what happened early in the day. And Doug doesn't complain. He used to complain. He used to say, why do you got to get involved? And I would say to him, why don't you? Why don't you get involved? It's your business. There's a child there. There's a lot of folks you can talk to now that are grown that will tell you, I really wish somebody had gotten involved back then when such and such was going on. And nobody did. That's a little boy. And, I said to that chick, this baby, you're setting an example for this child of what a man is. Do you really want your child to think this is what a man is? You're setting a precedence here for this child. She was like, no ma'am, no ma'am. And I felt terrible for her. I just wanted to hug her and make him leave. But that didn't happen. But you know, thankfully Doug didn't have to say anything. He was like, he was there. All he had to do was be there, you know. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. She's probably packing heat, and I don't know what this guy's got going on, but he hasn't said a word yet." So yeah, it usually does the job. It calms the men down. I've never had a problem. We haven't had a problem one time where the man did not calm down. Over the years when we've had to do that, and I've stepped in, and Doug just kind of is there to have my back. Because Doug knows in a situation like that, I'm not going to start nothing. I'm putting a stop to something, but I'm not going to have a personal fight with somebody. But I'm not going to back down from them either. And people need to know that more people are going to get involved, because domestic violence is a reality for too many women, and their kids. Their kids see it. A lot of men that commit domestic violence now will often tell you they were raised in a home where it happened, their father, their grandfather, whatever, and nobody did anything. It's the way that it was. And that's not good for anybody. But so that happened. I haven't heard anything follow up wise, but I'm hoping, you know, if I see that cop again, maybe he'll remember, which I spent a freaking hour talking to him. So uh, hopefully he'll remember and I can find out something. I hope she's okay. I hope the baby's okay. And I hope that piece of shit either gets help or gets the hell out. So thanks for stopping by and listening to my shit. Hit the red button below and hang out with me some more. And everyone have a fantastic day. Bye.